Hey everyone, today I have a very interesting hand where it tests the concept of whether do you Pong the first copy of Yakuhai, how do you manage like terminal Doras, and to some extent this is quite a bad hand that you're seeing. So I'm going to walk you through how did I play this hand and some of the controversial moves that I made that I would like to justify them with something that AI don't agree. But at the end of the day, what I hope that you take away is bigger exposures to different way of thinking. Let me run through every single move that I make and explain to you the thought process behind. Right, so we start off with a hand with a pair of chun, but with many kanjans. Bear in mind that when building hand in Menzeng, it is more important to look at the hand shape, followed by the hand value. If you do not have a good hand shape, you should aim for value. If you do not have much value, then aim for good shape. But at this point in time, given that if you look at our hand, do we have any of them? No. So we have to try to think of a way to improve one of them. Now, without knowing what tiles we're gonna draw, we need to have some direction on how this hand gonna be in terms of the value first. Now, when you have no shape, you try to go for value. So the immediate things that I look at here is potential Itu or 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku. So without knowing much, I discarded the pay first. Okay, now you have the next turn. I drew a 5P. Now you have 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku possibility now. Of course, we are lacking 5M and 7M. We also have our 6 blocks, 6, 8M, 2, 3P, 5, 7P, 1, 3, 5S or 5, 7, 9S. Since we have 6 blocks, there's no need to hastily drop this 1M, mainly because it is a Dora. The second reason is that it can be still used for 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku. Now, when your hand has no value, it is very important to hold on to Dora. When you have 6 blocks, you don't have to worry too much about losing too much speed. Because any one block that you are choosing to drop, you are actually not going back any Shanten. If you are dropping one block from 5 blocks, then yes, you are going back Shanten. Now, since we have 6 blocks, we should decide what is the most useless block that we can get rid of. So the weakest set that we can see here is 6-8M. Right? To some people, they will drop 6M first, followed by 8M because 6M is more dangerous. But because we are aiming for 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, we definitely want to draw 5M in. So we discard 8M here. The dealer pawned Haku and discarded Chun. Do you pawn this Chun? Most of the time when you have a very weak hand, bad shape, no pair, it is better not to pawn a Chun. Because number one, even if you pawn a Chun, your hand doesn't get any faster. When your hand do not have any pair, the more you open your hand, it doesn't get faster because you loses one more tile of pairing them up. Second is that if you pawn this Chun, what kind of hand are you aiming to win with? Is it 1k hand? Or is it maximum with pairing out 1M Dora with a 3.9k? You need to have a proper plan when you pawn Chun. Like, you need to be quite confident that you can win this hand if you pawn Chun. So at this stage, when I can still possibly get 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku and use Chun as my pair, and I also do not have very good confidence of winning this hand, I decided to skip this Chun to act as my safe tile to defend later on if any player reach it. Then I draw 6P. Now we are comparing 6M and 1M. For us to reach Sanshoku, we need a specific 5M, 7M, and 6S. But in comparison, 1M, you just need to get one more, 1M, and you can get your 2 hand. So we will drop 6M here. At this point in time, when you draw 1S, what will you discard? This is the part where I actually made the most controversial move, which AI disagree, both Maka and Naga. And even when I asked a few people around me, nobody kind of agrees it. But I have very strong reason for this. Are you able to guess what did I discard? Before I review my answer, I think there's few ways that you're thinking of, right? Based on what you have learned. First, you suck give it the 1M because it's going to be dangerous. Your blocks are like forming up. You need 2 pairs to progress your hand smoothly. You need to pawn your Chun, so your 1S pair is quite important. And you are probably taught not to drop any Rankans, things like that. But I discarded 5M. When this 5S is dropped, are we going back any Shanten? We still have 5 blocks, right? But it is a weaker 5 block. I exchange this weaker 5 block for potential bigger hand. My immediate concern of dropping this 1M is that my hand is still very weak. Dealer has Pong Haku. I do not even want to risk dropping this 1M now and having him Pong. Yes, you can say things like, oh, is Dora Sakigiri now before it gets too late? But when your hand is very weak and you may not even see a potential of winning this hand, why do you want to risk letting dealer hold this 1M just so that you fold and lose 4k? My own guidelines is that if I have a very trashy hand, I will never ever Sakigiri any Dora. That's why I also advise to other people if they ask me for my opinion. Why 5S, not 3S or 9S? Now, when I'm holding this 1M, I'm still able to gun for Sanshoku. If I manage to draw in like 2M or 3M or 1M itself, I will just drop the 7 or 9S kanchang. So that's just one in the hand building aspect. Now the second aspect is that I was visualizing how I'm intending to win this hand if I really end up pong this hand and we going for 1k hand. So let's take a look at the scenario that I have in mind. When I discard the 5S, I give myself a possibility that if I get to put Chun later, and maybe 1M is safe later on, or I decided to throw 1M later on, I will be waiting on 8S. And if I'm waiting on 8S, I don't want people to be wary of my Pon Chun. Now, if you play with solid players, or if you play with intermediate players, some players are very defensive. If you make one Mel and then drop Dora, they know you're going to be on 10 byte, right? Or even if you Sakigiri Dora and then you make one Mel, they're still going to put you on 10 byte. So if they're going to put you on 10 byte, I don't want to end up with a bad weight that is quite beatable. I don't think anybody will mark much of this 8S with a 1 Mel Chun. So this is my main idea of how I will play this 1k hand. Now, what did I lose from discarding the 5S? I lose the ability to draw in a 6S. And that's all I lose. And another reason of discarding 5S is simply just a bit more dangerous tile to keep. After I'm keeping this 5S only for the sake of 6S or even 4S. These two tiles are difficult to chi in nature anyway. But let's take a look at what AI thinks. If you come back here, if you look at Maka, it is 1M. Now, if it's based on this simulator at 5th turn, but this is AI choose, not AI, but this simulator choose 9S. Now, I played this a while ago. I forgot what the Nada choose. If I remember correctly, it is around 90% 1M and 10% 9S. So there's only these two answers that they accept. Usually 5S is something that AI will never consider because they don't consider how you intend to build your hand. Now I'm gonna explain further like why do I think keeping the 5S, losing the acceptance of 6S and 4S is not as much as you think it might be. Imagine the way you decide to play this hand is that the Chun comes out, you throw 9S, like according to AI, you throw 9S, the Chun comes out, you Pong. And here, are you gonna throw 1M? Most likely it's a yes, right? Because it's already a good Ishan 10 and you cannot really fix your any of the run kan here. It's too dangerous and it's a very bad kanchang. Then you draw 1 4P. Then you tempai. You tempai on the kanchang. So there's a 50% chance here that you are going to tempai kanchang. Actually, I would think it's more than 50% because you are more likely to chi 1P than to chi 4S or 6S. What about Atozuke? Do you intend to chi 6S or chi 4S before the Pong Chun? My answer will be no, because Chun is already one out. Why do we want to discard Dora and everything on this last Chun for this 1k? But unless you are very desperate to win this 1k. But if you look at the score distribution, I don't think it's that desperate. And that's why I discarded 5S. So this is the most controversial part. But let's continue on with this hand. Shimoja has Riichi. Definitely this hand cannot be played. It is a full fold. Naturally, Chun. So it's just focusing on folding. I have the 1M. Good. just continue with hearts. 2M is safe. 4M is safe. Dealer has only chi 7M, so 4 7M probably safe. Continue discard. Save tile. Okay, here we have reached Tenpai with 2 Doras, but only 2 outs. 2 8S. The AS has been done by Toyman already. Do you chase this Riichi? If it's against one player, Cole, 2 outs, 2 Doras, I think it's around even. But I choose not to chase this because Dealer has pushed 2 tiles, 3M and 4S. And especially this second tile 4S, he could be waiting on 3S. Right, so right now, this 3S is dangerous to 2 players. Not only is dangerous to 2 players, after you Riichi with a bad weight, you're going to fight against 2 players. Now, Dealer has already have a minimum 2 hand. You have another Riichi. And then 3S deal in might end up with like R5S on one of the player. So I don't think this is a push here. So I went with 7S. Now, next turn, very interesting. I drew in 1M, Uncle. Now, clear cut. Right, this 9S is definitely a push. It's safe to Dealer, and it's only a 1 tile push against the Riichi. And you have a good weight. On top of that, the most perfect thing is that because of your early 5S discard and Dealer just discarded 2S, if Toyman catches 2S, do you think he will throw it? Because he will not have much safe tile with 3 players. So 2S will definitely be released. So I chased, and it passes dealt in. And that's how I won this 8k from a very trashy hand, skipping Chun, and this 5S turned out to be such a nice disguise. But I'm not sure how far this 5S disguise is, but let's take a look at Toyman's hand. So in the end, Shimaja is indeed waiting on 3S. Toyman is on rather weak-ish kind of Ishan 10. If I do not have this 5S here, what do you think he will discard? Let's go to his view. Or what will you discard? Naturally, 2 Riichis with Dealer, the answer is actually 5M. Now with 2 Riichis, Dealer is also look like Tenpai pushing. There's no way you can play this Ishan Den hand bad shape. At least for me, I will discard 5M from this hand. I will not drop 2S. And even after 5M, there is a safer tile to discard, which is 4M. So at the end of the day, this 5S turns out to be, although not as what I planned to be on 2S. Okay, to some extent, I never mentioned it. I also plan for 5S to win on the 2S. Because if I'm going for Sanshoku, I can Riichi and wait on 2S. But I don't really bet on that because I definitely have to hold a 1S all the way. Okay, sorry, let me go back to my hand. So here, right? Now, I'm definitely going to hold this 1S all the way as long as Chun is not dead. So if Chun is dead, then I will drop this 1S a bit early and then Suji trap and wait for the 2S, assuming my 1, 2, 3M forms. So this 5S has 2 ways of trying to increase your win rate. So this is a very interesting hand that I hope to show you. Sometimes winning is really not about tower efficiency and trying to get to Tenpai as fast as they are. Winning and reaching Tenpai are correlated, but are not exactly the same thing. Some move that you play reduces your tower efficiency by a bit, but it can either improve your value greatly or improve your weight. Now, the improve the win rate part is always way harder to learn because you're always sacrificing a bit of the efficiency and the Tenpai. When you're lowering a Tenpai probability, then definitely you're lowering on the win rate. Most of the time, Suji, all this early Suji trap sacrificing the top efficiency is for a higher win rate for a bigger hand. I try to do both so that it offset the little bit of the top efficiency that you sacrifice. If you enjoyed more of this video, I do have some others such educational rounds that I talk about how I play this hand, please check out on the next two videos here. And I'll see you next video. Bye bye.